Hi guys, welcome back. Excuse the mess. I am just in from walking the dog. So today I thought I would let you guys know about my ectopic pregnancy because I didn't have the kind of typical symptoms of someone who has an ectopic pregnancy, and I thought I'd just raise a bit of awareness because I didn't actually know that that's what it was that I had until it was confirmed. So let me quickly go through my story, and if anything rings true then be sure to get it checked out. Let me get comfy because it's not exactly comfy here. Now here we go. So this is August. In April last year we've been trying for ages and ages to have another baby, to get pregnant a second time, and it was trying. I couldn't get pregnant, it just wasn't happening. And when I had Isla, or when I was pregnant with Isla, I had a cyst on my left ovary that put me in hospital a couple of times, so I often wondered, oh god, I'm sweaty, is that the problem? Anyway, so we tried and tried and tried, we've tried loads of different things to get it to happen, and then it eventually happened. So in April, I think it must have been the end of April, that I took a pregnancy test and it was positive. Now this should have been one of the first warning signs. Just look at the mess behind me here. One of the first warning signs I had was when I took the pregnancy test, I was bleeding as if it was a period. I mean, like, that should have registered straight away, but I gave it the benefit of the doubt and I thought, right, okay, well, maybe my body's just a bit confused. So when I took the pregnancy test, it was positive, but very, very faintly positive. But like 2 lines that you could see. So a couple of days went by and I still bled, but not heavy, just really kind of light kind of pinkish bleeding. Sorry if this is too much information. So that was fine. So I went away. The next week I went away and we went up to pretty much the arse end of nowhere. We went up to the top of Scotland, and all was fine until the second last night before I came home. What was I doing? I think I was in the living room and I stood up and I had this almighty pain. Now because I had the ovarian cyst, I knew the pain, so it was a pain down in my kind of abdominal region, and it ran down my leg. Now that was a warning sign because that was the same kind of pain I had with the ovarian cyst. So I said to Jim, I was like, I'm not really feeling very good. Right, okay, that's fine. So as the night grew on, I got really anxious because I didn't seem to settle down. I couldn't just sit and relax. I just had this horrible feeling. So this went on like for hours upon hours. I couldn't sleep. I got up into the bathroom and I went into the toilet and I just started feeling really, really faint, as if I was going to faint, really warm. So I opened the door and I mind running my hand under the tap while lying on the floor just to get a bit cooler air about me. So that was it. So that whole night passed in a complete blur. I don't know what was wrong with me until I googled ectopic pregnancy. It just sprung into my head. And they said that in ectopic pregnancy you would get a really bad abdominal pain where you couldn't move, you couldn't breathe, but mine was just more of an ache. It was really uncomfy, but it was an ache. I mean, I wouldn't rush to the hospital, and anyway, the hospital was about an hour and a half away. Jim had a drink. We were in the middle of nowhere, and the nearest hospital probably would have been Inverness, which was ages away. So that was fine. Came home the next day and I phoned the hospitals 2 days later. They told me to go in and she'd done a scan. So I was like, this is the problem. I'm bleeding, I'm pregnant, can you help me? So she'd done the internal scan and she said to me, which was really embarrassing because I thought, imagine I'm not actually pregnant and this has just happened. So she put the scan in. It's an internal transvaginal scan. And she was like, I can't really see anything in your womb. When did you get a pregnancy test? I'm thinking, oh dear God, please let me actually be pregnant, because this is really embarrassing. It's like false pregnancy or phantom pregnancy, something like that, because I'd wanted it so bad, like maybe my mind was playing tricks. So that was it. She done the scan and she's like, there's nothing in your womb. Okay, move to the left ovary. Your left ovary looks fine. Over to the right ovary. There's a problem here. So I'm just trying to think back. So she got someone else in and she says, look, there's a mass in the right ovary. We think it's an ectopic pregnancy. How far on do you think you are? And I told her. She went, right, it's not too bad. Go and get bloods done and we'll discuss your options. So got the bloods done and she says there's 3 options. Usually it's a surgical procedure that you have to get done. But I wasn't that far along and it didn't look that big. So she says you can either go away and just deal with it and see if it comes away by itself because you're not that far on, or you can take a drug, it's an injection and I'm pretty sure it's called methotrexate, and it'll kill the cells of it and you'll basically kind of miscarry yourself, or we can go in and do surgery. But she went, go away, I'm going to phone you and give you your I think it was like a hormone result back, and we'll see what that is and then we'll take it from there. So she phoned back a couple hours later and she says, look, it's really small, your hormone level, but let's just see how it goes in the next couple of days. Right, that's fine. So in the next couple of days, I got bloods done that day. The following day or 2 days later I had to go and get more bloods done in the morning. They phoned back in the afternoon and basically this was another how far is your hormone level sorry, let me start that one again. So depending on your hormone level you could either, well, we'll figure out the next steps basically. So she phoned me later on, she went, I'm really sorry but your hormone levels aren't going down, they're actually going up, so the next step is to come in and get the injection. Now I had read up about this injection and I thought, oh shit, it's not meant to be a pleasant injection. I'm pretty sure they give it to cancer patients having chemotherapy because it destroys the cells of, well, it's basically destroying the cells of the pregnancy. So I was like, oh god, right, I know it was an intramuscular, I know it was meant to be sore. She did say to me when I'd asked about it a couple of days prior that it was going to be quite painful, and I thought, oh, I hate injections, I was so scared, and I get myself into a complete and utter mess. I was crying, I was shaking. Anyway, grew a set and I went in, and I'd asked if I can put a bit of numbing cream on, so they give you at the top of your bum, and I was like, can I put a bit of numbing cream on because I'm not good with injections, and as you've seen in my previous video if you've watched it, I use numbing cream in all blood taking, all injections, but she said no, they'd rather not in case it interfered with the drug. Okay, so I went up and I went into a room, lay down, and here the nurse comes in with this like toxic bag, and she's got like not overalls but a peony on, like an apron, and I'm like, oh dear god, why me? Okay, so I just had to go with it. Do you know something? It was fine. It was absolutely fine. She'd done it at the top of my bum. It was just like any other injection. Now, there was a lot of side effects that you can get with methotrexate, and it included like vomiting, headaches, feeling really unwell, and I dreaded that, so I was like, oh god, okay, that's fine. But you're also meant to bleed as well, which is a sign of it obviously coming away. So, took the injection and I felt fine for days. I was absolutely fine. There was no side effects. I didn't feel tired, I didn't feel dizzy, I didn't feel sick, I was fine. So I don't know if that was a good sign or a bad sign. So I went up a couple of days later. Now bearing in mind you have to go up, I was up pretty much every second day getting blood done. Right, okay, that's fine. So I went up a couple of days later. So if you're taking this drug, it's obviously meant to kill the cells, so your hormone levels are going down. Mines were still going up. So, oh, you couldn't make this up. Right, okay. So they were like, right, we will take you for another injection. And I was like, right, okay, now I know what the first one entails, the second one is fine. Done it the other side, absolutely fine. no side effects whatsoever. The only thing I did feel one day was quite dizzy, but that was it. So I had to go up every other day to get blood tests. I'm trying to think, it was that long ago. To get blood tests, and my hormone levels weren't going down. So I had the hospital on a Sunday, and I remember getting up to the big one in Glasgow, the Queen Elizabeth. It was really, really, really quiet. And I went in and they'd give me a scan, and the nurse went, oh, you've got fluid in your abdomen. And I was like, what do you mean fluids? Like, what kind of fluid have I got? And she's like, well, I can't say it's blood because I can't see what it is, but it's probably blood. I think your tube might be rupturing. And I thought, Jesus. But when I read about tube rupturing, no one ever says that it was not painful. Everybody says it was agony. That's when you meant to know about having the ectopic, because you fall to the ground, you can't move, you're in agony, you pass out. I had none of that, absolutely none. I felt nothing. So she went and got the consultant, and I was in tears because I thought, I can't be bothered going for, no, this is really selfish, isn't it? But I can't be bothered going for surgery today. It's Sunday, I want to go home. I'm so tired. So I was crying. And you know, there was one thing she said to me which actually scared the shit out of me, basically. And she says, do you know something? I could let you go away today and you could go to sleep and you might not wake up again because you've died of internal bleeding. And I was like, what kind of thing is that to say to somebody? Sorry, I'm playing with my hair, it's just a mess. So she went and get the consultant, and he says, well, to be fair, it's not a lot of fluid, so why don't we just keep an eye and get you back 2 days time. So I went up to my original clinic 2 days later, blood's done, nothing changes. Back up again, blood's done, nothing changes. Then the following Sunday, I went up to the Royal Infirmary in Glasgow, a couple of minutes away from me, and I just had this feeling, because the night before, when I was lying in bed, when I turned, I felt this seriously strange sensation. It was like a slushing, as if there was loads of water inside of me, and when I was moving, it was slushing about. And I was like, oh God, I couldn't sleep because I thought, what if I fall asleep and I don't wake up? I was panicking. I didn't want to phone the hospital because they would just tell me to go up and go in for surgery, and that's what I wanted to avoid. So I went the next day, but when I was packing, because I was going up to get bloods done, when I was packing my bag just to nip up to the hospital, I packed things like chargers, underwear, some snacks, because I knew fine well I wasn't going to get out that day. So I went up and she done bloods, and I said to her, look, I had a strange sensation last night. I says they found fluid in my abdomen last Sunday. Now, I thought I either say it to her and they deal with it, or I don't say anything and I could potentially die. So I thought I just need to man up and say it. So she went, okay, give me 2 seconds, go and get a scanning machine. And scanned, oh haha. So she checked the fluid levels from the week before, and she went, you've almost tripled the amount of fluid in your abdomen. We need to go and see the consultant. So down we go. She came back up and she went, yeah, you're having to go into theatre. Because we think that your tube's burst. Okay. Bearing in mind I had no pain. There was no pain. I wasn't sensitive. They were pressing. Every time I'm up there pressing down, wasn't sore. None of it was a classic indication of an ectopic pregnancy. So this was just the strangest thing. So I went down and I'm crying. I'd never had an operation before and I was really upset. So, and you know, one of the biggest fears was I've not got my numbing cream for them to put the cannula in the back of my hand to put me to sleep. It was just madness. So I lay about, waited about, because I wasn't a complete emergency. I waited up, I think it was about 6 o'clock that night that I got taken down into surgery and out of surgery. My surgery, I think, took a bit longer because when the surgeon had a chat with me afterwards, she said that they found a lot of bleeding on my bowel. She said that she hadn't been near it, she didn't nick it or touch it, but it was bleeding, so she'd get the bowel surgeon in to do a colonoscopy. Oh God, I just had no words because I thought my dignity just went down the drain. I've had a colonoscopy before, but that's when I was prepared. So yeah, so my surgery, I came out of surgery and it was the best feeling in the world, just like totally out my face and drugs. That sounds really bad and I do apologise, that's nuts, but yeah, so it felt great. I was just come out and that was it. I fell asleep next day and woke up and I had 3 incisions and a tube draining fluid, which was fine. So when the doctor came round, she didn't give me too much information because it wasn't obviously my surgeon, but she just said that yeah, they took the tube away, and one of the kind of things that put me a bit out of place is you have to sign consent to basically get your tube and your baby discarded. It's because it's just a mass of cells, but it's now considered like, what to call it, you're basically reproduced. So I had to sign a consent form to basically say that I wanted my baby disposed of, or my tube disposed of with the cells that I've reproduced. Yeah, so that was it, all well and done. Went home, sore for a couple of days, get a call from the surgeon, I want to see you up. Right, okay. And I thought, right, this is just a follow-up. I didn't think anything of it until I went into the reception and the receptionist said to me, I wouldn't worry about today. And I'm thinking, what do you mean I wouldn't worry about, like, I didn't think that this is just normal, isn't it? She went, no, the surgeon wants to see you. And I was like, okay. So I got called into a room and she says, yeah, your tube had ruptured completely and your abdomen was full of blood. Any longer and you would have been dead. And I was like, oh great, thanks very much for that. And also, when she was in, she told me about the bowel thing, which, I mean, that is what it is. And then she went, and your left fallopian tube looks blocked. She went, it's very distended at the bottom, which is classic symptom of a blockage inside. So we'll send you away for another test. Turns out that it was blocked, and that's another video how I've just went through IVF, and I'll update you on IVF soon. But yes, so the ectopic was very, it wasn't the norm because I didn't have the classic signs and symptoms, so I wasn't sore. I had that first initial pain, but I wasn't sore any other time. I didn't feel anything. It's just, I just want to raise awareness that it's like everything, nothing's uniform. So if it's extremely sore, or if it's not sore, if you have any bleeding while you get a pregnancy test, anything that you find abnormal, pardon me, God excuse me, please go and see about it, because I could have lost my life if I hadn't been aware. Basically, if I hadn't had that pain that I knew what it was at the beginning, then I could have potentially lost my life, because when my tube ruptured I didn't feel it. I genuinely, I could really press in my stomach and it wasn't sore at all, which is really, really worrying. I could have lost my life. And I'm really grateful and thankful that I never, but it just shows you that it's just because you Google the symptoms doesn't mean that it actually happens. So if you've anything like a little bit of bleeding or a pain that you don't recognise, don't fob it off. Go straight to your doctor, midwife, hospital, because that might just save your life. Well, I have rambled on for nearly 20 minutes, and if you've stayed with me through all of that time, well, thank you very, very much. And if you would like, please subscribe. And as I said, please go and see about this if you've got any niggling or any niggling doubt that it's not what it's meant to be. Then, yeah. And thank you very much. See you later.